Transitions, risers, subdrops, production effects, synths are an absolutely crucial part of modern metal. These elements tie your sections of the song together and create so much ear candy that without those, the song seems absolutely bland and boring. Adding those transitions is a creative process, and there are no strict rules of how to do that. However, it is important to put them into the right way, knowing where to add the transitions to hit hard, how to add them, and where to leave your song goddamn alone. So today, I'm going to share with you my creative process of adding those transitions for in your cover. We will look into detail on creating risers, subdrops, and in the follow-up video next week we will look into creating atmospheric synths and ambience for this as well. So, without further ado, let's dive into it. That turned out brutal. I'm Dr. Mike Trubetskov, and I'm here to bring valuable information on recording, producing, and mixing metal. So mate, please like and subscribe so that the value travels. As much as this is a creative process, I decided to come up with a cheat sheet for you, which outlines some protocols that you can follow to further streamline this and not miss important details. Free download in description. Let's go! When you're thinking about adding transitions, risers, production to your song, you need to consider your song as a whole. You need to look into macro dynamics, meaning how each section transitions into another, whether it needs a lift, a riser, or a drop in tension. You need to consider the atmosphere for each section as well, be it spooky, dissonant, anxiety-inducing, or hard and heavy hitting as a breakdown. And you need to consider microdynamics as well, meaning how rapid are your kicks within this section. If it is busy, there is nothing that you can really add to it. Or maybe it is a halftime section and there is room and space for reverb. There are some stuttering effects for guitars, left and right panning, tremolo kind of things that can be added to further increase the dynamics and add more tension to the transition. All these things come from you carefully examining your song and labeling each section, be it verse, bridge, taking notes, and already considering the dynamics from there during your post-production process. This is a rough, improvised part, unplanned, but I decided that it is very important to share the thinking process with you. The first thing that I would recommend you doing is going through the song and putting in markers, labeling parts. Let's see. This is obviously an intro. This is main riff. Right away it makes sense that the intro has to build into the main riff. We may think lo-fi distorted drums, lo-fi guitars, some cinematic orchestration, risers, and then a massive sub drop onto the main riff here. It's a verse 1. One of the ideas that I've had here is ambient, lead, and then another explosion into the verse as always. Pre-breakdown. I'm gonna call this a build. This is why this process helps. You can now go through the whole song and find a similar part in the track, and that allows us to frame the dynamics of the song into this context. When you consider the section not just by itself, but in the sense of what follows after, it straight away becomes more apparent on how you can join them together. A labeling section allows you to maintain the big picture and therefore join the gaps and consider transitions and layers for it. There are different types of risers and drops. There are traditional subdrops and classical reverse cymbals that everyone uses. However, there is much more that you can do to this. You can go to freesound.org and search for risers. You can get packs by GAST and similar that provide cinematic kind of textures. You can even record them yourself. And you can reverse certain sounds, like for instance, a long floor tom. If you reverse that, this forms an incredibly cool riser. This can give you a certain flavor, be it cinematic, cosmic, or industrial. In order to source your risers and drops, you can just go to freesound.org, which is obviously free, and search for riser. Take a listen. There is a bunch of sounds that are usable right away, and the sky is the limit really here. Reverse ride. Sounds fantastic. In order to make this video a bit more interesting for you, I'm going to use cinematic risers from library damage 2. This is what it's all about. It is important to note that your subdrops should be tuned to the key of the song. Let's consider before and after. I'm using the Sub Destroy here. It sounds like this. So sounds cool, but it doesn't start at the right frequency. It starts at F, and the song is in A sharp. Take a listen. Can't really tell, right? But if we go and tune it correctly, it just sounds more in sync with the song, and there is no tonal shift, especially relevant if it is a semitone or maybe 2 semitones. This is important to keep your productions more neat. As I'm going through the song, I'm putting those subdrops on the ones, and obviously there is a creative decision where you know it gotta hit hard. However, if you put your subdrops on the ones for each verse, each chorus, each bridge, each breakdown, it will sound boring. You have to be pretty tasteful about where you wanna hit it hard and be intentional about this. If you want some diversity, you can put different elements rather than just subdrops, maybe some hits, cinematic hits, or you can vary them in volume. Versus not add anything and leave the music alone. So here, right? It hits not as hard but significant to feel in the start, but I did this intentionally because this main riff here is still sort of a build towards this huge breakdown, and that's where we want to hit the hardest. Therefore, varying the volume by maybe a couple of decibels here and there can create this effect for you. Let's take a listen to how this turned out, and a hint that turned out brutal. Oof! Very much pumped for my gym session now after this. Hopefully this short demonstration, by no means being complete, inspires you to add the right transitions, risers and drops into your song and shows you the principle of labeling sections, considering microdynamics and macrodynamics, and knowing where to leave the track alone and where to hit it hard. I'm Dr. Trubetskov. I'm very grateful for your time here. I hope that you learned something new and exciting. And until next time, rock on!